electrician Evan, taking a closer look at our PS5 here. One of the things I noticed is that this capacitor that failed is closest to our Wi-Fi chip, so not replacing it might affect that, but we are replacing it anyways, so that's not going to be an issue as we figure this out. So I just need to do a little bit of research and try and figure out how to get this guy up and running. Okay, so we went ahead and added in a capacitor here. This should be an upgrade from where you guys are at. Just received our replacement capacitors, so we can go ahead and install and get this all cleaned up, and let's get this back home. Old capacitor, gonna remove and replace. Brand new capacitor, these ended up being a 10 microfarad capacitor. New component is installed. We got that there. It's a little bigger than the old one, so I modified the motherboard just a little bit. All I did was I cut just a little bit of the copper plane there on the left side to allow it to flow and fall into place with a good distance. My only concern, and it's a fairly big one at the moment, is when I was soldering here, I heard a hiss and something smoked on the other side. The only thing that I see on the other side is going to be that Wi-Fi chip. So I'm going to have to take a deeper look. We'll get the board cleaned up and move forward as planned. Actually, what I might do is just put it back together again, since I heard that, saw that, and we're going to hope for the best that nothing major happened from that. Here's that installed capacitor after cleanup. Just going to test to make sure that we're still not getting a short circuit underneath there. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump that. But that would be a short circuit. See if we hear the beep. Touching both sides of that, no beep. We can, I guess you can touch these 2 points. So we're connected to the motherboard here. I'm going to touch this, I can touch ground. And we're connected to the motherboard there. And we're looking good. Seeing that smoke come out was weird. I don't see anything obvious from this side. So let's go ahead and plug in and see where we're at. Just going to do a test here again and make sure everything's still working. I don't know that that outlet's plugged in though. But not a great sign. Well, not seeing a thermal image here. I'm trying to power on. Get anything to happen. And no response. So, I know this is pretty discouraging, but I have a feeling that we weren't far off from this happening again anyways. I don't think it was a bad thing that we replaced that capacitor. That capacitor was part of the original engineer design. I do know that on that line there wasn't an issue, or on that line there was an issue, and for a while there, when I was touching these components together, we were getting a hissing, and we were getting sparks, and there was energizing. So I know that this was part of the problem. Sometimes there's more problems than one. We never did check that Wi-Fi. I never tried to connect it to Wi-Fi to see if it was working or not. I never tried to, I don't think I tried to connect a controller wirelessly. I think that chip's also responsible for that. But I think the next step is going to have to be to try and dive a little bit deeper and try and figure out exactly what's going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and reach out to you guys with I guess the frustrating news on this, and we'll see what we can do to try and pick things up and recover. Taking a look at our board areas again. Just taking a look at our capacitors here. They're not beeping like they were. A short beep's fine. It takes a moment for them to charge. Yeah, they can do that. That's fine. But they're not doing that long beep where it's just a continuous short circuit like they were before. So that's a good sign. I'm also taking a look at fuses. I'll definitely really poke at all of this. This is probably a slow blow, so these are going to take a little bit before the beep, but those are good. Fuses are good. I checked your power supply again. We're getting voltage in. We're not getting a thermal signature from the board at all this time, which is different than what we're having before. But things theoretically are looking good. The only thing I can really anticipate is causing some major issues here. Or I should say, not the only thing, but the most likely culprit, I think that's causing us problems now, just because that capacitor that we had is right on the other side of this guy, is going to be this chip. The First thing is that I think that capacitor is associated with this chip. I've said that before, but this would be a Wi-Fi chip, and I think it's also the Bluetooth chip. It does both. Fairly sure. With that said, I think this guy's bad. Just because we saw smoke come out from the other side of the board, but also because we also saw that there's a short circuit on the other side. And this could very well be what caused that capacitor on the other side to blow in the first place. I think you're going to run into issues one way or the other over time. I installed that capacitor, and I think it just found this line, or whatever line was bad, and because the capacitor was good this time, maybe the chip didn't survive. I don't know, electronics are complex, so it's hard to say. So I'm going to do what I can on my end to try and come down with a good solution for everything that's going on here, but I think this is a reasonable next step, is trying to replace this chip. I do know that it's a BGA chip. I do know that this is the biggest BGA chip I will have ever soldered if I ever try to, if we do try to replace this for you. That's going to be a pretty challenging chip. So I'll be reaching out. I think it might be a good time for us to take a break here, for me to order some diagnostic equipment and try and dive a little bit deeper into this board and seeing if we can come up with a better solution.